All right, we've been talking to Culture Crew members, Lee Swinney, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast, and Iman Heath, who is an entrepreneur and an activist. And I wanted to, for this final conversation, I wanted to get y'all take on NBA great, Hall of Famer, three-time champion, Mr. Dennis Rodman, who says he'll try to go to Russia and try to get Brittany Griner free. However, his critics say it's going to be a fiasco if he makes this move. Here's the case of somebody All right, so here's the thing. All right, let's put this up there real quick, King Keenan. State Department, how they said the spokesperson, Ned Price, he told reporters that Dennis Rodman would not be traveling on behalf of the United States government and, quote, anything other than negotiating further through the established channel is likely to complicate and hinder those release efforts. Now, a Biden administration senior official voiced that the White House did not approve Rodman's involvement, despite Rodman's assertion that he's received permission. That permission did not originate from Griner's inner circle either. Even that seems unlikely that the State Department has issued a do not travel. Rodman also said that he has, along with permission, he has the visa or the passport to go to Russia. The State Department has issued a do not travel advisory for Russia, in part because of the unprovoked and unjustified invasion of Ukraine by Russian military forces, the potential for harassment against U.S. citizens by Russian government security officials, the singling out of U.S. citizens in Russia by Russian government security officials, including for detention, and the arbitrary enforcement of local law. Lise, what is Dennis Rodman trying to do?
I think he's trying to, I guess he said he's real cool with Putin and see his friends.
He thinks Putin is cool, but that was back in 2014.
He has a really interesting dynamic with leaders that we are tense with. He has a really strong relationship with Kim Jong-un back in 2018. He actually went with Trump to Singapore when they had that meeting with Kim Jong-un, and they were able to get Kenneth Bae, who was in North Korea, home. And he actually credits himself with being able to talk to him to do it.
They said he thanked him for the awareness.
That's why I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love me a man with some green hair, and if he want to go over there and do that, and he can bring him, I'm not recommending it because he could possibly, we're gonna have to trade two people to get two of them back here. So I don't think it's a good idea, but he does seem to have a history or a track record of being able to make things happen. I'm not saying I want him to go because he's going to make it more difficult. If you're trying to trade, do a prisoner swap, he's going to make that a lot more complicated. And we do not know how Putin will handle this because one of Putin's allies' daughters have recently been killed in a car bomb. They're blaming Ukraine. Ukraine's independence is coming up. So we don't know what his response or reaction is going to be to Dennis Rodman when he gets there. So I don't know why he would even make that unless he thought he could do it. I don't know.
So that's interesting, Iman, because foreign policy experts are asking the question, what could he possibly say to them without the back end of the United States to broker any real deal to bring our WNBA superstar back home? Like, what he doesn't have anything to offer. He doesn't have any resources at his disposal. So how are he going to plan and negotiate the release of our sister?
My brain is literally trying to write out the problem and do the math because I understand the intentions. Like, I get it. I completely understand. You know, it's appreciated that, I guess, with his name now being him attaching his name to this may bring more awareness to the issue. I'm not sure. But Faraji, Faraji, I don't know. Like, I get the intention, but the actual steps to get it, I don't know.
Like, and again, this speaks to what we were talking about. Like, you just because you're great in one area doesn't mean you're going to be great in all areas.
That is true. That is true. Man, I felt like he had to step up or something. Maybe
He's gonna offer friendship. Friendship is magic. The My Little Pony said that, so I guess he thought it was true. He's going to
And look, Lise, that's the best guess that we have at this point. Maybe a nice, shot of, I don't know, whatever they drink over there in Russia.
vodka.
They can have some vodka and smoke a cigar and talk about let's get Britney out. Do you think we can work on that? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are legitimate news and cultural show, and you quote My Little Pony.
That's what she said. That's what she said, Faraj.
It's just magic.
I don't know what else to say. That's where I'm at.
I feel you, Lise. That's what my brain is like, just trying to find. But you remember that episode of SpongeBob when they told him burn all the papers of the Krusty Krab history or something with the Krabby Patty? That's where I'm at. I don't.
Okay, I'm mad at myself for knowing that reference and knowing that, seeing that episode, and then I'm also mad that you bring up SpongeBob after she brings up My Little Pony. So this is a trend with you sisters. It's a trend.
We're creating stuff, he's creating this in his head. We're creating stuff. We're talking about fantasy. Why not? Why not? You got a reference, Faraj?
Well, according to the great wisdom of He-Man.
Hey, look, according to T'Challa, who knows?
Hey, yo, I'd rather reference T'Challa over. No. Yo, and the sad part about it? The sad part about it, man, is like, I know the sister really, we all know Britney is not doing well right now, right? Mm-hmm. And my concern about this is that it will start to open the door for us to make mockery of her situation.
That is true.
Versus us, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that, like, I know with the Biden administration, they're doing a lot of stuff behind closed doors. I think this is one of those things, one of those cases, Lise and Iman, where government got to do government stuff.
If it was LeBron, would it make a difference?
No.
What you mean? If LeBron was caught in Russia?
No. If LeBron was what Dennis Rodman did, if LeBron James did that,
he wouldn't do it.
I know, but listen. Well, I mean, clearly, because he ain't.
I'm trying to be hypothetical, but LeBron don't think like that. I know he don't think like he knows he's out of his league.
I feel like if it was a different
that's one league LeBron can't play in.
Yeah,
even if Michael Jordan said, "Hey, let me," like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so far out of the realm of your expertise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's international. That's international diplomacy. That's, prisoner of war. That's so many other things.
This is not Chicago versus LA. It's not that. It's not Florida versus, I don't know, Idaho or somebody. It's not that.
This is real life.
Yeah.
Say that, please.
Real life. And also Detroit. It's not Detroit either.
It's not Detroit. It's not New York. This is real life. This sister, we talked about it. The sister literally legitimately got 9 years in a Russian prison. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't, she might get 9 years, or this is, if he would have said this before the trial, I would have probably been like, okay, maybe. But now the decision is on, the judgment is already been made.
He gonna get the kid.
Wouldn't it be crazy though? Wouldn't it, if he was able to do it? I mean, if he was able to.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing for me. If he's able to do it, how would it? Shit, then we need to send him everywhere. Then.
I agree. Don't even send nobody else.
You need to go to Africa and get them children back too, bro. While you at it.
Right. Just send him and he will make, like, we don't know what he knows, because the fact that he said he got permission and he's going to go help this girl and he's going to bring her home. I don't know where Dennis Rodman.
But I
I wish him the best.
I don't think he should go.
It's not
a safe
travel. It's complicated.
No, man. I want the sister home too, but I don't think you're not qualified. Now, if it was Jesse Jackson,
well, he got the hospital.
You know what I mean? Jesse's been in those situations. He understands that you know what I mean?
He didn't do that either, though. Like it wasn't like
I don't got that either.
He got him home.
Who? Jesse?
Jesse, not Dennis. Not Dennis.
Not Dennis. Yeah, I'm about to say Jesse got some people home.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a little bit more faith in his ability to do that versus. Like, come on, Dennis. Come on, bro. Come on, brother. This ain't. And it's like he just came out. And the fact. Here's the thing. The fact that he said he got permission, and then the White House said you don't got permission. It's like, bro, you operating on a whole different plane. Like you're not even rooted in reality right now. Like you saying to all of the American media, I got permission. Who did you get permission from to do an international diplomacy trip? If it ain't from the White House, if it ain't from Washington,
and you have my support, sir. You know,
No, sir, brother. No, sir.
The same people Trump said declassified them documents is the same people that told him he could go. That's it.
And guess what?
All 300 of those documents leased. All 300.
Nah.
Maybe Trump told
no. And here's the thing. Here's the final point on this, y'all, real quick. If Brittany Griner's family and inner circle didn't give you the blessing,
why are you?
What's the point of doing it? If they did not say, "Hey, this is our guy. He's going to represent us," I wonder, did he even meet with the family?
I doubt it.
Did you meet with the family?
I'm gonna say probably not.
I doubt
it. Did you ask him? Did you ask her wife? Did you talk to her wife and say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. You know, this is where my relationships are."
That's Dennis Rodman. Because again, he's a celebrity. He's a former NBA All-Star. He ain't got to ask for nothing. That could be the attitude. Right.
Yeah, I know that, and that's what I'm saying. All right.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Okay, that arrogance.
And then look. If people, and to my culture crew, if any one of y'all think this man is qualified to go over there, please just turn in your culture crew pass right now. Just put it. Just turn in your pass. Email me at Faraji at Black Star Network. Just turn in your pass, man. He is not qualified, man. We're not doing this. We're not playing games for life and death situations. We're not playing games for people, man.
But his mindset he may really sincerely believe he's the difference, you know?
Again, you might be that way, but here's, again, my thing is, it's a slap in the face of the family. Out of all the people that's an impact, I ain't worried about the White House or President Biden and all that. I'm not even worried about my personal view. I'm saying if the family didn't say you should do it, you got permission from them to do it, then don't do it. It's just that simple. It's like when we see Hollywood put on these shows about celebrities, biographies and stuff, and the celebrity families didn't give you the go ahead. Don't do this project. Don't do it, bro. You're gonna cause more harm than good. And look, we love the sincerity, we love the intention. But don't do it. You are not an international diplomat.
Agreed.
I know a lot of our people, you know how some of us get leased anymore. They be like, well, you see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna let a black man shut the hell up, bro. Shut up.
Yes. This is my last point.
Hey, look, if you over in Russia, would you want Dennis Rodman coming for you? Okay, then. All right. Amen. Let the church say amen.
There you go. Last point. Friendship is magic. And we're going to end on that.
Y'all, I'm done with both of y'all. Hey, any parting words of wisdom from SpongeBob, Iman?
I'm ready.
Maybe from the Rugrats. They always dropping jewels.
Right. they were for real. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember that right now.
Iman Heath, entrepreneur and activist. Lise Weddy. Please try to hold it in. Lise Weddy, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast. Thank y'all so much for.
Can you believe the nerve of these Republicans? They only want to block progress for our community. They talk about cutting Medicare and Social Security. They played politics with veterans' health care. They voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and funding for our HBCUs, and against lowering prescription drug costs for our seniors. These Republicans keep trying hard to stand in the way, but President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats won't let them. They are delivering for us. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
Before we get started, we definitely want to let you know that Black Star Network is a people power movement, as well as it is a media institution. We want you to show your support right now. Check us out at blackstarnetwork.com. Again, that's blackstarnetwork.com. And you can show your support. We are looking for financial donations right now, folks, as we're continuing to build out this platform, build out this media institution, continuing to share the stories and have the conversations where we can tell from our own perspective and state our own case. So make sure y'all check us out and show your support at blackstarnetwork.com. All right, I want to join. Let's have for our first conversation, we're going to introduce a brand new segment that you'll be able to see here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. We check in with our big brother and one of our foreign policy expert and analyst. He's an historian. He's a professor of African American history at the University of Houston. Today, we're going to premiere the Horne Report. Dr. Gerald Horne checking in. Good afternoon, Doc. How are you, dear brother?
It's all good.
Dr. Horne, we got a lot to talk about. So many big things that have been happening. First and foremost on the agenda, 6 months, Doc. You and I have actually been talking about this for the past 6 months. This is crazy. But this is the 6th month of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. And there has been so much that has been talked about, so many twists and turns in this story. But more importantly, this is an war that has taken thousands of lives on both the Ukrainian and the Russian side, not just in terms of the casualties, but also the soldiers themselves. Both governments are taking a beating. And I think that the biggest upset of this whole war, Doc, is the simple fact that Russia underestimated Ukraine in dealing with its power and its might. What's your assessment of what's been happening over this past 6 months?
Well, the latest news is that today, August 24th, marks the Independence Day for Ukraine. And in that regard, US President Joe Biden has just sent another multi-billion-dollar arms package to Ukraine. And I think that that helps to explain how and why it is that Ukraine, which has a population between 40 and 50 million versus Russia's about 150 million, has been able to acquit itself so well because it has been armed to the teeth by the United States. You should also know that sadly and unfortunately, the US basketball star Brittany Griner, who arrived in Moscow in February 2022, unfortunately with cannabis oil, and therefore has been under detention since then. I'm more optimistic than ever that she will be released sooner rather than later, because apparently negotiations are proceeding forthwith. Now, just in case your audience may be wondering, I'm not optimistic because former Chicago Bulls and Detroit Pistons star Dennis Rodman is apparently headed to Moscow to negotiate. I based that upon other news reports. This Russia-Ukraine conflict also has had manifest and manifold implications for Africa, because to the extent that the United States North Atlantic allies, particularly France and Germany, begin to boycott Russian natural gas and Russian oil, for example, they're turning increasingly to African energy, particularly Nigerian and Algerian energy as well. The problem there is that the African nations have not been enthusiastic about sanctioning Russia, which has led the Congressional Black Caucus's Gregory Meeks of Southeast Queens to carry legislation that would call on the State Department of the United States to penalize African nations who are not on all fours with regard to US policy sanctioning Russia. This has caused consternation in Africa. You might recall that US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken was just in Pretoria, South Africa, and he got an earful from the South African Foreign Ministry as a result of this legislation. You should also know, as represented in remarks just today by the French President Emmanuel Macron, that this Russian-Ukraine conflict may mark a turning point in terms of the history of the world. Because what's happening is that the sanctions against Russia, to an extent, have backfired. You have record inflation in Great Britain. There's the possibility that Europeans will be freezing in the dark because they're not able to get African energy online soon enough, fast enough to substitute for Russian energy. And at the same time, you have nations like Turkey, or Turkey, as it likes to call itself nowadays, which are playing a double game. On the one hand, they're part of NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization led by the United States of America. On the other hand, the Turkish regime, or the Turkey regime, is cozying up quite warmly to Russia. Hundreds of businesses from Russia have put down stakes in Turkey in the last 6 months. So this war that's unfolding might turn out to be a turning point in world history.
I like that. You've been alluding to that for ever since we've had in this conversation. And you know, one of the big things that I think is interesting is the fact the amount of money that the United States has been invested. The other thing has been the stability of the Russian ruble, you know, and how that is going to create a domino effect on the global economic stage. So to that point of you're saying that this might be a turning point, I think so, Doc. I really think so. And, you know, when we look at how things have gone, based upon Putin's philosophy and his behavior over these, you know, just before this moment and then now even up until this present day, do you think that he's going to stop? Is there a point where he says, you know what, we're not meeting the goals that we wanted to meet. We're losing a lot of people. My country is suffering. Is there a point that you foresee where he will say, you know what, we need to pull out of this situation before this becomes very, very impactful down the line?
Well, it's really unclear. Keep in mind as well that your assessment of what's happening on the battlefield sometimes turns upon which sources you're reading. If you read the New York Times and the Washington Post, you get the impression that Ukraine is prevailing. If you read Russian sources or sources friendly to Russia, you get the opposite viewpoint. Indeed, the viewpoint in Russian and pro-Russian media is that what Mr. Biden is trying to do by shipping all these arms to Ukraine is to prevent a collapse of the Ukraine regime before the midterm elections in November, because it's unclear, given the catastrophe in Afghanistan of August 15th, 2021, when you had this helter-skelter, shambolic U.S. pullout of Afghanistan and the collapse of the pro-U.S. regime, there is a feeling in the White House that Mr. Biden and the Democrats cannot withstand a similar sort of collapse in Ukraine. Likewise, with regard to this war, I'm very concerned by the fact that the person who may be the incoming British Prime Minister, speaking of Liz Truss replacing Boris Johnson, has been dropping broad hints about the use of nuclear weapons. And of course, Mr. Putin did the same thing some months ago, although he's not done it in the last few months. This is quite concerning because the use of nuclear weapons would have global impact. It can lead to the deaths of billions, including people in the United States of America. So I think that it's well past time for the peace movement to get more engaged with regard to this war and conflict.
And I would agree with you on that one, Doc. Karina checked in, one of our loyal viewers. Karina, good afternoon. Good to hear from you, sis. Karina, you checked in and you posted all the money sent to Ukraine, our taxpayer dollars being leveraged to assist everyone but us. Then student debt can and most definitely should be eliminated entirely, period. But you know what? And we started the conversation about, of course, President Biden making this big announcement about, canceling just a small portion of the student loan debt. But Dr. Horne, talk to us a little bit about, how do you have that conversation? How do you just justify one thing for another, considering we were sending literally billions of dollars to this other country to protect them, and yet only thousands of dollars. I mean, of course, millions is going to be the average, but only $10,000 per student borrower is going to be affected from this situation. I think there's two different pots because that's how government works. But to the American citizen, to the American student who is crushed under this debt, and they're seeing how we're proceeding across the waters, how do you justify it?
It's difficult, if not impossible, to justify, and I would like to echo the criticism of Derek Johnson of the NAACP, who tweeted on receipt of the news about this cancellation of 10,000, perhaps to 20,000 debt of students, that this was wholly insufficient. I should also say that there is a threshold. What I mean is that if you have an income of $125,000, then, I should say more than $125,000, you may not be able to cancel any debt. And so there is a further limitation with regard to this. However, even with this pittance that's being tossed out to students, a significant percentage of whom happen to be African American, I'm hoping that the cancellation of student debt will allow people to catch up on their rent fees, to catch up with regard to their car payments, to catch up with regard to child support payments, etc. Because this country is headed, I'm afraid to say, to a recession, and we're going to need all the help we can get.
Absolutely. And speaking about the state of the country, and I'm glad that you brought this up, let's talk a little bit about now moving from Russia and going across to the motherland of Africa. You wanted to discuss the elections in Kenya and Angola, and there are some major elections that are taking place there. Give us the update on that situation, please, Doc.
Well, a few weeks ago, an election was held in Kenya, East Africa, which is the ancestral homeland of President Obama. There were two main contestants, Raila Odinga and William Ruto. The election is now in the courts, which is heartening because in the past, when there have been close elections, violence has erupted, which has been terrible news, particularly since Kenya is the powerhouse of East Africa. There is a large expatriate USA community in Nairobi, the capital, which mirrors the expatriate community across the continent in Accra, Ghana, West Africa. So we should pay careful and close attention and trust that these elections will be resolved peacefully. With regard to Angola, that vote is taking place today as we speak. And it's really important for Black Americans to pay attention to this election, because during the bad old days of the slave trade, it's estimated that 35% or more of the Black American population have ancestral roots in Southwest Africa, in the Angola-Congo region. There's no accident that the leading prison in the state of Louisiana is called Angola State Prison. Ironically, the enslavers brought Africans across the Atlantic, and then if they committed some minor transgression, they were tossed into a dungeon in Angola State Prison. You may have heard of the recent death of Albert Woodfox, a former Black Panther, who was incarcerated in Angola State Prison for decades, most of which were in solitary confinement. In any case, the United States has played a very negative role in Angola. On the occasion of Angola independence in 1975, you saw the United States Central Intelligence Agency, along with then apartheid South Africa, intervene to try to reverse the triumph of the ultimately victorious party, MPLA, which is still in power as of 2022, but is now being challenged by the opposition party, UNITA, which was backed by the United States for decades in league with apartheid South Africa. Unfortunately, the MPLA's record leaves a few points to be desired. You may know that in this country of horrific poverty, perhaps the second richest Black woman in the world is from Angola, the daughter of the late president, Jose Eduardo dos Santos, of course, second to Oprah Winfrey. So there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of consternation in Angola. So we'll have to watch carefully to see what the result will be.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because and I'm not going to assume that folks across this part of the world don't keep up with African news, but I think it's hard for us to kind of relate to it and help folks to make the connection, connect the dots for what's happening over there and how it impacts it over here. Given that these elections are happening the way they are happening, Doc, does that change? Will that impact the plight of our people as it relates to this Russian-Ukraine situation? Will that impact the relationship that the United States currently have with countries in Africa?
It's possible. Angola is a major oil producer. In fact, you may recall that during the years of U.S. intervention in Angola, oftentimes they were being supported. That is to say, the United States intervention was being supported by U.S. oil companies who wanted their share of Angolan oil. And to the extent, once again, that the United States begins to boycott the natural resources from Russia, the United States will be turning it inevitably to Angola. But I would like to caution our Angolan friends about what's happening in the world. You may have seen the news today that within a decade or so, California will be banning cars that use gasoline. You'll have to go electric by 2035. This is going to have enormous impact on the petroleum industry. It'll have enormous impact on Angola and Nigeria, major petroleum producers. It'll also have major impact on Black auto workers in Detroit, who are used to building these traditional cars, whereas the new electric cars involve a different skill set. So it's very important for our community to keep up with all of these breaking developments.
Doc, just very quickly, Dejima Boutique posted a comment talking about Murtala Muhammad, who was assassinated by the U.S. Let's put that, yep. And she said, let's ask Henry Kissinger, bringing up that point. Give us some of that history around that assassination, Doc.
Well, I'm glad that Dejima Boutique recalls this turning point in Nigerian history. It was the mid-1970s when perhaps the most progressive leader Nigeria has had since independence, speaking of Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated. There were allegations and rumors that there was U.S. complicity because of his staunch support for the MPLA, which, by the way, was also backed by the Cubans, because what I did not mention is that when the Angolans were able to defeat this U.S., CIA, and apartheid South Africa intervention, it was because of the assistance of Cuban troops backed by the Nigerians. And he had to pay the ultimate price for his politics. I recall when I was living in New York that there was a huge mural in honor of Murtala Muhammad in Brooklyn, New York, and I trust that it's still there.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, Doc, we got a couple of moments left with you. You wanted to talk about something that maybe a lot of people didn't expect you would possibly discuss, which is the situation with Kevin Durant and the New York Nets, how he has met to agree to move forward together after his trade demands over the summer. He played one game already with the new season, and they lost that game, but many people are saying that this still might be a rough season for the superstar and the Nets. What's your take on that situation, Doc?
Well, it's a real head scratcher. First of all, I was baffled when Kevin Durant, the 7-foot tall star of the Brooklyn Nets, perhaps the greatest basketball player today, no disrespect to LeBron James, by the way, said that he wanted to be traded because he could no longer work with the coach Steve Nash and the executive Sean Marks, which is surprising because, as I understand it, he and his fellow star Kyrie Irving had a role in the hiring of Steve Nash. In any case, apparently they kissed and made up. Apparently he's going to be entering the season alongside Kyrie Irving. I'm not sure if Kyrie being unvaccinated will keep him from playing games as it did last year when he had to sit out about half the season because of his vaccination status. And then there's Ben Simmons, who they got from the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for James Harden. He just had back surgery. And of course, his game, despite being an all-star, is rather suspect since he hasn't developed a jump shot yet. So despite the fact that Kevin Durant is talking about bringing a championship to Brooklyn, those of us who watch the game carefully are not so sure.
Well, you know, so it's good to hear that your analysis, because folks will probably say, oh, Dr. Horne, he know about basketball. We just thought he was all history and all facts all day. That's a beautiful thing. And you know what? I'm a Kevin Durant fan, Doc, and extremely talented, probably one of the most underrated superstars that we have in the game in this day. But I think when it's all said and done, he will have such a powerful career. You know, unlike what we probably see with a lot of older players where they stayed with one franchise, one team for an extended period of time. I mean, the culture has changed. The culture has changed. And I want to get your view on this very quickly. People have said that part of that is because of how LeBron moved when he went to Miami, leaving Cleveland. Now he's in LA. You know, do you think that that was him, or is it just the fact that, you know what, these guys are playing with a different motivation, that it may not be money, but they definitely playing beyond just staying with one team? What's your take on that?
Well, I think the fact is that you make more off the court if you do well on the court.
Right.
LeBron has won 4 championships. That has led to him becoming a billionaire, most of that money coming off the court with his film production company. And so I think that's what Kevin Durant is concerned about, because he has a similar outside interest. And you might have noticed that when Draymond Green of the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, got married a few days ago, that LeBron James showed up for the wedding. But despite the fact that Kevin Durant was one of Draymond's co-stars in the Bay Area, he did not show up. Now, I'm not sure if we should draw any inferences from that, but I found it very curious that Draymond's opponent, LeBron, showed up, but Kevin didn't show up. And of course, there are all these rumors that one of the reasons he left Golden State was because he didn't get along very well with Draymond.
Right. Exactly. All right, LaShonda checked in. LaShonda, good to hear from you. You said that was a failed power move on Durant's part. He was not going anywhere. But if I were Steve Nash, I would watch my back. Hey, let me tell you, being an athlete in today's leagues, it is nothing to play with. You know, you got to come in there that, yeah, you're going to play with the team, but you really do have to think about your individual growth and progress, because I see that more in the NFL and NBA than I see it in the MLB. So it's going to be interesting, certainly interesting. Dr. Gerald Horne Moore's Professorship of History and African American Studies at the University of Houston. You can check out his brand new segment, which premiered today, every Wednesday here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on The Culture on the Black Star Network. We're going to talk to Doc about a whole host of things, folks. So definitely check out his insight. Doc, thank you so much for being a part of the conversations. And God willing, we'll see you next week.
Good luck to you.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
Can you believe the nerve of these Republicans? They only want to block progress for our community. They talk about cutting Medicare and Social Security. They played politics with veterans' health care. They voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and funding for our HBCUs, and against lowering prescription drug costs for our seniors. These Republicans keep trying hard to stand in the way, but President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats won't let them. They are delivering for us. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. Want to have a conversation, because when there are big cultural moments that happen in our culture of hip-hop and R&B, we got to say something. There have been many, many cultural moments, and this one that we're about to talk about certainly fits into those same conversations. So DJ Khaled dropped his album this past Friday called God Did. God Did. The title track features the sounds of Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, I was about to call him Lil Weezy, Lil Wayne, and none other than Jay-Z. Now, folks, if you hadn't had a chance to listen, you might want to give this a good listen. And I have to say, and I want to bring our culture crew back, my man Jules, my sis B Fly, I gotta say, highly impressed by what this track is trying to get across. I got some questions, but I love this song. I love the collaboration. A lot of good things were said throughout this song. So first and foremost, what do y'all think? Oh, and I didn't forget the brother who actually sung the hook. His name is Friday. So what do y'all think of the new song, God Did, and the impact it's going to make on the culture? B Fly, I'm going to start with you real quick, sis.
You know, I really don't foresee any particular impact on the culture, you know, from this particular song outside of it giving people permission to extend past 3 minutes, 4 minutes, you know. I think that is a key element on how to jump outside of certain musical boxes, you know. I think that is very profound. But everyone on this song, including the producer, like, they are all top of the game. All right. So there's a lot of media hype about Jay-Z's long ass verse. over the past few years, you know, he's quick to put out a long ass verse. This ain't the first long ass verse that we've had from Jay-Z, for real.
You said, wait. You said there's a lot of hype over Jay-Z's long ass verse.
This is the first long ass Jay-Z verse in the past couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like, he no longer sticks to 16 bars. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna come
It's like 64. It's like
He
64
don't-
bars.
He don't do that. He's like, I'm going to give you a dissertation from my 50-year-old brain, and this is what we're going to do. I'm Baba. I'm a husband. I'm father. So I'm going to sit on my throne of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I don't sell crack no more. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, nigga, I made it. This is how we express that in the culture. All righty. But I'm here for Rick Ross. Like, straight up. Like, I am totally, I'm impressed by the growth of Rick Ross. You know, I personally I love the way he is maturing in the game. You know, I love it. You can feel it, you know, in his everything. I absolutely I want more Lil Wayne. I want more Lil Wayne, and I need him to tell us what has been happening. Something's been happening. I'm calling HIPAA. Something's going on, and I want to know more about it before he ain't here to tell me himself. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to know more behind the scenes. You know, like, I'm ready for a different sort of reality introspective on their lives. You know what I'm saying? Outside of you know, so understand what's actually informing their creative energy right now, you know. But you know, this is wonderful. Like, and we all know DJ Khaled, you know, like he is definitely, he puts God first in everything, you know.
In everything, there he is. Hey, Jules, let's give you about 30 seconds for that one. What you think? What do you think? You think this got best rap collabo of the year written on it? Do you think this is the verse, like, from Jay-Z's verse? And I think all of them got notable verses. Let me just say that. I think what Rick Ross said was notable. I think what Wayne said was just quotable. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the culture. You know what I'm saying? But of course, Jay just puts his own thing. He talks about a number of things in that piece. What's your take?
We pushing Fenty like fentanyl. All right, listen, bro. All right, so let me, bro. All right, so real quick, let's go. Rick Ross, I agree with B-Fly. The growth of his lyricism is just off the chain. Like, I love Rose. That him leading, and that's how I feel all the time. When you lead off a song of that magnitude, you have to be the strongest. We already know what Hov gonna do. We already know what Wayne gonna do. When you're leading a song of this magnitude, you have to be the strongest. He did that. He succeeded. He set that bar. He set that tone. Lil Wayne, I mean, if we want to get the bar breakdown, he basically called all y'all new people his sons, and he had safe sex, so y'all not even really him. Y'all trying to be him, the face tats, the dreadlocks. Y'all, but you're not me, baby. I'm still Weezy out. You ain't nobody touching my level. That's an old, like, and I agree, B-Fly. Carter 6 is on the way, so we know we're going to get more. All right, Hov. Hov does what he's supposed to do. He not outside often. It usually takes DJ Khaled to get him outside, usually. I mean, that's usually the if you look at Jay-Z's features in the last 10 years, it's mostly been DJ Khaled verses. So that's a good relation, a good rapport right there. But the bars he was spitting, I mean, when he talk about how many billionaires came from Whole Crib, Me Easy, and Reed, and they said, oh, Braun's secondary rock boy, so that's 4 technically. Like, bro, like, he just was talking. Like, it's the thing I love about Jay-Z is the talk is so much different than what we listen to. Like how B-Fly said, you know, we finally got a verse that is long as hell. It's a long ass Jay-Z verse, yes, but I'm tired of hearing these 2-minute club songs on everybody's albums. Like, we can still talk. Like, we just got finished listening to the Kendrick album a couple weeks ago. Like, we can still talk that talk, and we can still spit, and we can still go at it the hardest and let you know ain't nobody messing with us. And I'm gonna let you know I'm the GOAT and ain't nobody touching me. So, you know, I'm already there with this whole song. This is the collab of the year so far. Like, I know people say don't jump the gun because it's still there. Well, I listened to it all weekend. I kind of sort of try to put it up against other features for the year. I don't. There's close seconds, but right now this is the dominant number one as far as features.
I think this is one of the strongest songs that Khaled and Jay and Wayne and Ross put out together. They've all worked together on different projects, but this is a strong showing, and I think this might go down as hip, collab of the year as well. And I think that this shapes the culture in a sense that it puts out some different messaging around struggle, around triumph. I want to have a second conversation. We don't have time today, but I want to have a second conversation about hip hop and religion and spirituality, because we can at least, I know, B, I know, because we can liken to hip hop artists to prosperity gospel teachers.
I'm here for it. All righty.
Oh shit! Let me see something here. Hold on.
Uh-oh. It's about to happen. It's going down.
My shit.
It's over.
His phone died.
Hi, Jules. Let's just take over Faraji's show. Yes, I'm here for prosperity gospel. Like I love it, but I'm a 5%er as well. And so, this is all the same, it's the same evolution, and so it makes sense.
I feel like it challenges the, because people always say like with Hov and Jay-Z, with Hov and Beyonce, like the whole Illuminati thing. It's like, but I feel like it challenges it when you're talking about the aspect of God and what the Lord provided for you through your craft. It kind of denounces all the rumors and dispels that, takes on to this aspect of lyricism. And when Jay-Z said, these ain't hymns, these ain't songs, these is hymns because I'm him. Like, that's just like, he's giving you the full breakdown of one, my verse, my repertoire, and two, relating this to God and the message I'm giving you from the pulpit. Like, he was talking.
I think that it's interesting because we will at one point degrade hip hop for not being spiritual, and then the moment we go spiritual, then the people want to tear it down as if we're sacrilegious, And so, but I do appreciate this new trend of rappers expressing their spirituality through music. Like I want to say like it was a good 10, 15 years where that was kind of missing from the overall pulse, And so it's nice to not have it just be limited to the indie music experience.
Right. And the fact that it's put on mainstream now, and like that's the point. It's so major because like now it's being talked about, and I feel like now we're in a safe space where, like you said, 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't a safe space to talk about, respecting God, loving God, respecting women. Like, it's like now we're in a space where all of that is like, that's the growth of the music, that's the growth of the artistry as well. Because again, it takes the artist, the new artist, also to comply with it. So it can't just be Jay-Z coming back and saying something, and then everybody goes on and do what they wanted to. No, it took the whole craft of the culture. Now they all start to cultivate and join in. Like, all right, let me set my pen up and let me talk about what I've been through. Yeah, I used to come from Sunday school on Sundays when I was a kid. So like I can talk about that now where I'm not looked at as a weirdo or a clown or I'm a coon because I'm sharing my previous religious experiences. We can talk now. Like, so, I think that's the major part of the music industry where it's going. Like, I love it. Like, I really do love this.
Yeah, it's dope. Toby can't be the only person, talking that talk. You feel? So is Faraji really God?
Yeah, phone died.
So Jules,
phone drop like service when you're in the tunnel. We got some comments. Let's read the comments.
Oh, we have comments. All right.
Yep. So Miss Shell Ray said, "Jay, you nailed it with this one." Too, they're all vibing. Whole still outflow the lyrics against the young rappers. That's true. He can still compete. Yeah. Man, pushing 50, he 50, still competing with the young boys.
It's real. I appreciate, like I don't believe that you're supposed to mature out of hip. Like it's on us. Like we have to be able to mature with, like together. Know. And I'm looking forward to being in my 60s, in my 70s, experiencing what rap has done to the world.
Right, that's what I can't wait for.
It's going to be amazing, like it's going to grow with us, on our terms. And that to me is the most powerful thing about the future, because you're not going to be able to separate rap culture from
Right.
culture.
You know what's so funny to think about what you just said? I can't imagine, imagine me 60 years old, like at a cookout or family get together, and Amigos Bad and Bougie comes on shuffle. Like, how will I feel about that song 40 years later? Like, it's like that song still goes so hard. Like, that beat is ridiculous. It just, I love the vibe. Like, how am I gonna react at 60 years old and Bad and Bougie is getting played? Like,
well, hopefully we'll still be able to listen, and they won't be canceled like our Kelly.
Right. Huh. That's facts.
But I think that's dope, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a part of Blackness. Like, we hold our moral compass so strong, so real, you know, to where we can love your art, but your art cannot sustain you if you are doing damage to human population, you know? And so it's like that's so necessary, and hip hop is here for it, and Faraji's back.
We got special guests in the building.
Yo,
How you doing today?
We got special guests in the building, live from the West Coast.
All right, then, Jules, you finish it. You know what? I'm gonna start doing is bring culture crew members on. Y'all just finish the damn show.
Oh man,
my connection, yo. when you out in the streets, sometimes they don't want you to be great.
No, that's that.
What did J. Khaled used to say? They don't want you to win.
Right, they don't want you to win.
Oh, you gotta have a.
I appreciate y'all. Hey, look, real quick. Yo, why Keenan Petty? He got me on the panelist side. That okay, now he switched me back over to the host side. Keenan, like, you coming in as a panelist, dog, and like you're a crew member. I don't know who hosted. Yo, I'm gonna just turn my shit off, bro. I'm just.
Hey, look, listen. Hey, tell us, it's the culture hosted by Ferrari.
Just turn it off. Hey, look. Real quick. As we wrap up the show, and again, my apologies because my connection went down. But I wanted the big thing that I think that we should stay from this is that, and here's what many people are saying. And Daisy, you said it. You said, nah, you don't mature out, you mature up and start rapping about positive things. And that's where we're going. There has to be a truth. And Daisy, I agree with you 1000%. At some point, you wanted to learn more. Now, on the rest of Khaled's album, he got like 21 Savage, Lil Durk, and all of the next generation of artists, and they rap into what they do. But you want to show growth. Even there's a song on the album with Kanye West and Eminem.
Oh my God, that's fire! And it's produced by Dr. Dre.
And you know, you got B's favorite client. Don't make this funny.
See? God, take him away.
I'm here. Jesus is here for Jesus. I'm the
right. Listen, Keenan said Kanye got him.
Do it.
Kanye listening.
Everywhere, you know. He's trying to broadcast from a Kanye satellite right now. Come on now. That's bigger than rolling.
Oh, this is hilarious. This is the greatest show ever. The greatest show ever.
Can you believe the nerve of these Republicans? They only want to block progress for our community. They talk about cutting Medicare and Social Security. They played politics with veterans' health care. They voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and funding for our HBCUs, and against lowering prescription drug costs for our seniors. These Republicans keep trying hard to stand in the way, but President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats won't let them. They are delivering for us. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shootings.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to PO Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are black beyond measure.
All right, peace and welcome to the second hour of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Faraji Muhammad. Thank you so much for checking in. If you're just checking in with us on our blackstarnetwork.com or other platforms that we are streaming on, welcome to the show. Broadcasting from the sunny city of Los Angeles in Southern California. And we're continuing to have the conversations that are very, very important to you. Big shout out to the first hour as we talked about what's happening with President Trump and that raid from the FBI and the Department of Justice to look for those documents, classified documents. We talked a little bit about that. And we talked about the North Carolina sheriff who is arming 6 schools in North Carolina in a small county in North Carolina with AR-15s in preparation for for things that may happen in a school setting. So if you missed those 2 conversations, you can definitely check us out on the replay on our Black Star Network app. All right, for this part of the discussion, I wanted to have a conversation with my sister because Tuesdays we always have these cultural discussions, and one of them was something that I saw as a result of everything that went along with Beyonce. Now, it's only been about what? I want to bring them back in. Lise Winnie, host of Millennials Anonymous podcast. Iman Heath, who is an activist and an entrepreneur. Ladies, it's only been, and I know Lise, it's only been a week or so since the Beehive? since Beyonce dropped Renaissance. It's only been a week.
Yeah. It hasn't been.
I feel like that album been out for years.
Right. Beyonce will do that to you though. Like she has.
Beyonce will do, and all the drama and controversy will do that to you. So it's been a week, and now, you know, we know that everybody was loving the album. Then a bunch of people started coming out and saying, "Oh, she sampled this song." Some people were happy, some weren't. Khaled, and then she decided to make an unprecedented move, which was she changed some of the lyrics to not offend people, and she just took off some of the music that Khaled said that she owed her. That's a different conversation. Now the conversation comes up about fandom. This is what it means to be a fan. Like when you are a fan, how far do you cross the line? And so I wanted to have a cultural conversation with my two dynamic sisters about the toxicity of fandom, because we are in a very, very unique time when it comes to our adulation and love for our musical idols, for our celebrities. Like it's gone way deep. The two pieces, then this came out of the Griner when they published an op-ed to discuss this idea of fandom and has it gone too far. They looked at two powerful Black women in the industry. First, Beyonce, of course, with her Beehive. And then second, Nicki Minaj with her Barbs. Is that how you say it, Iman? Is it Barbs? That's her group? And what does Megan Thee Stallion have? Because now everybody got their own thing.
The hotties.
The hotties. Are you a hottie? Iman, are you a hottie?
Yes, I am. That's Meg is the hot girl coach. Yes. Probably stacked. I can't wait for you to review her album. I'm looking forward to it.
Iman, yo, you say yes, I am. Yes, I am. Hey, look, real quick. Hey, look. Speaking of Meg Thee Stallion, did you hear about Partisan Fontaine and The Rock?
Yeah.
The Rock said, "I will beat her chihuahua."
When it was asked, because he was on. If y'all don't know, y'all gotta see this clip from The Rock that was absolutely hilarious of him and Kevin Hart talking about their new movie Super Pets, which is a great movie. Took my son and daughter to see it. It's a funny movie. But they did a little press joint, and the question was asked, "Who would you want to be a pet for?" And The Rock came out with no ifs, ands, no buts about it. With the straightest of face. Now y'all know The Rock. The Rock is what The Rock is cooking. He was like, Meg Thee Stallion.
That was it. He didn't have to think about it at all.
And Kevin Hart busted laughing. Like Kevin Hart didn't even Kevin Hart probably was like, my wife. I'm gonna be a pet for my wife.
And look, if Kevin knows what's best for him, that's the right answer, good brother. That's the right
from Baltimore. I'm gonna be a pet for my wife. But The Rock came out and told her boyfriend, Meg Thee Stallion, boyfriend, Partisan Fontaine, hip hop artist. You know, he had a couple of words out of jest. He was just joking. He just had a couple of words when he saw the video. But I'm like, Partisan party. You don't want what The Rock is cooking, bro. He wasn't
even saying it to be offensive. So it's like,
I know he wasn't. He wasn't. It was just that. The funny thing about it is I did not know The Rock was checking for Meg Thee Stallion like that. When he was asked, and then he said, well, what would you do as her pet? He said, that's between us two.
That's what he said.
It's like he thought about that. He's been thinking about it for months and years.
Right. Oh my God. I just thought that was funny. All right. So this whole idea of fandom, the toxicity of fandom, we are in a time, ladies, where people have gone so far for their fans. Check this look out. Stan culture is a crazy, toxic, and unforgiving world. And what the writer was basically saying, and Keenan, let's post a little bit of what she said. She said, fast forward 30 years. Now, the writer talked about her love for Michael Jackson and Madonna and Prince. And I grew up in that era. But she said, fast forward 30 years and fandom has changed completely, especially with the advent of the internet. Through the power of the internet and social media, fans have now built themselves into legions of rabid mobs that attack anyone who has even the slightest criticism of their favorite artist. We have reached a point where you can say something as innocuous as, I really like this new album except for song XXX. And the fans will attack you as if you murdered Tina Lawson on the streets. It's that crazy. The sister also wrote this. After all, no one is above critique, not even Beyonce. And to create a world where you are not allowed to give less than a glowing review to someone's favorite artist without fear of becoming a target sets a dangerous precedent. Lise, do you agree?
I do. That's why I'm bronze. That's why I say I got a bronze Beehive membership, because the platinum package comes with the crazy. No.
So there's a platinum membership package to be a part of the Beehive?
Yeah, it is.
It might be. And then you know what? It's not a platinum. Platinum is when you go hard. It's the yellow diamond package.
There you go.
With the canary package, you will drink Beyonce's bathwater.
What's his
then
name?
sell it.
Kevin Gates said he would. So I guess he got that package. He got that. But I think that people have gone a little wonky. Like, I would never sit there and defend, as much as I love Beyonce. I've been rocking her since Destiny's Child days, and I'm old enough to know when she actually came out. But I'm not going to sit there and say that she can't do anything wrong. Even with this album, I said something last week. People came back at me and said, how dare you say? I was like, just because I don't think it's my favorite song doesn't mean it can't be yours. It doesn't mean it's not good. It's my opinion.
Right.
So I agree that we got some craziness going on now.
So Iman, there have been moments, and I don't remember all the moments, but there have been moments, and I think this is interesting. Beyonce never told people to go that hard for her. Not once has she said on her social media, hey, y'all, go after so-and-so. Not once. It's like people have taken this whole thing on their own. Like they think that this is what you're supposed to do. Whereas for Nicki Minaj, for example, Nicki Minaj will say, you need to go and holler at check so-and-so or talk to, or you need to jump on their page. And I think that's a big difference.
Beyonce doesn't talk. Like she doesn't talk. So we can start right there. She don't talk, Lise. She don't say nothing. She don't say a thing here. She don't have opinions about nothing. If she do, she real quiet about it. Nicki Minaj, I will say.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know you can find Iman's IG address.
I said what I said. So Beyonce is mute. She don't talk. Now Nicki Minaj, I think with Nicki Minaj, it's her I want to not pride, but like just her attitude of just I'm the head, be in charge, and I'm this, I'm that. I think that's why she rallies behind those type of behaviors from her barbs, because she wants to hold this mentality of, you can't F with me, you can't come with me. Because granted, when more female rappers started coming out, she wasn't at first so supportive of it. Let's not forget that. So, and she was surprising to me, open arms with Meg. That was one hell of a surprise to me. But she started having this attitude of, I'm untouchable. I'm Nicki Minaj. I paved the way for y'all. Now, granted, she did help. You can't take that away. She was the only female rapper for a while, besides Remy Ma. And she was a little on the shelves too. But her attitude behind it, I don't think Beyonce, even if she did speak about it, I don't feel like she would condone what the Beehive does sometimes when you attack and bully people. On top of that, in this day and age, you can have an opinion about nothing. I didn't know, I ain't trying to offend nobody. I didn't know spaz was an offensive word. Like, when they said Beyonce was offensive, she said spaz and they don't care about the ableist culture or something like that.
Yeah.
I said, what the hell is that? Like, where the hell did that come from? Why be mad about spazzing? It's just now the sensitivity of everything. I'm probably gonna be canceled as soon as we get off the I didn't even get started yet, and I'm gonna be canceled in a few.
I agree with you though, because that, of course, in the UK, I think that is the term that they use it. And how would she know? Like, Beyonce is not from here, but my issue is with Beyonce people because, listen here, Lizzo had a whole goddamn album that had the same thing. What was y'all like? No, we just don't worry about it. They ain't gonna skip that part. Like, you didn't know that.
Well, when she changed her lyrics though.
She did, but I'm saying it was the same word. Like Beyonce's people didn't know.
Right.
What was y'all doing? Y'all dropped the ball on that. Like that, I didn't understand.
Right. So I think the fan culture has gotten to this extreme, and part of me wants to say, does it lead to a personality disorder? I mean, even on a very like fundamental level, because some people, and you know, I wish that we were all more honest with each other, right? Like with these artists, how they present themselves, how they dress. Well, I'm talking about for men and women, how they dress, how they present themselves to the world influences us in some way, shape, or form. I remember when Lil Wayne, he's always been hot, but he was really, really hot when he dropped that album with Lollipop and yeah, I think so. So I saw a whole bunch of brothers wearing their locks just like Wayne, dressing like Wayne, right? When Jay-Z say he wears button-ups, everybody started to change their dress code. You know what I'm saying? They had the S dots on, they had the button up, they had the jeans. Like we act as if like we try to play tough, like, man, these people don't influence me. But if you go to any quote unquote day party, Diddy been doing day parties since I was little, right? He's been doing day parties, all white parties. People are influenced by what they see. They're influenced by the culture. And I'm wondering, because it's intensified and emphasized so much because of social media, that will it lead to some type of disorder within our own personalities? Am I looking at it too deep, Lise?
I don't think you are. I think that some people could potentially go down that rabbit hole because they get so stuck on social media and this becomes their identity. But I do think in some ways when you see some of these stan pages and people, they make money off of this. I think that's an element of this that we're not hitting into. There's money to be made as a Beyonce stan. There's money to be made as a Nicki Minaj or Rihanna stan. You make money off of that. If you can get a social media going, you get enough followers, you're going to make money. So I think that there's a bit of both. They need for people to be interested, so they're going to drum up all of this chaos. But then I think some people do get so involved where they feel like, you saw Eminem had the song stand. I think that
that's where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people who actually will go that deep. But I think on a larger scale, I think it's more of being a part of a group than anything. People want to feel like they fit in. And this is a way.
Do you feel like the same? Do you have the same sentiment, Iman, that people just want to feel like they fit in? Like celebrity culture has gotten to this point where we all want, and I posted this on my Facebook page. Did get a lot of traction? I say everybody's popular, but nobody is famous.
That is very true. And I feel as though, like Lee said, is social media is some people's identity. If you are known to be that big bad bully who's gonna check everybody on Instagram, but if somebody that really is like that in real life come to check you, you get real quiet. You get exposed. But on Instagram, you big tough Tony. But when it's time to be tough Tony outside of logging into your Twitter, you're not that person. So I definitely think it's a psychological, I won't say issue, but concern to emulate this one, I guess, personality when that's not you in reality. And that's another problem. People don't get chin checked no more. People think they can say what they want, how they want through the internet, but no one can ever actually physically get to them. That's also the problem. Nobody's getting hit in their mouth no more, Faraji. People need to get hit in their mouth sometimes.
You know what? I picked up on a little pattern in your analysis often, and it often comes down to wanting to hit somebody in their mouth. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that little observation, but
I don't promote violence. I'm not saying violence is the answer. However, people have
Lisa's like, yup, she does want to hit somebody in the mouth pretty often.
People have gotten comfortable with being disrespectful and not knowing, or at least having just basic boundaries for other people. Don't say certain things. Don't have a certain tone when you say certain things. Just a level of respect as just being humans, but we don't have that. And people think they're who they aren't on social media.
Well, social media makes you desensitized to being human. You don't see a person because you can't feel the emotion. It becomes a computer screen, almost like a game. Like you don't realize that there's another person on the other side of the world or wherever this person is. And that's the scary part about social media and why people are so bold. Because like you said, Amon, you're not in somebody's face. No one can give you that direct reaction. Like, you make a face like, wait a minute, hold up now. Everybody knows that look when it's like, wait a minute now, it's about to go from 0 to 100 in here. You don't have that. There's no social cues anymore. And social media has done that. It has broken down the barriers of communication. And you need that in order to have a society that is respectful and has boundaries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a couple of comments from our viewers. Folks, you checked in. We're talking about stan culture being toxic and crazy. We're talking about the toxicity of fandom. Being a fan has gone too far. Lana, you checked in. Lana, always good to hear you, sis. One of our strong supporters and loyal watchers. She said, that album, I've heard better from B. And I'm a fan. Okay, there it is. There it is. Lana, make sure that your account works at the end of the day. Appreciate you. The other side of wickedness, you checked in and said, look, some fans take it too far. They come for you as if you slept with their husband and emptied their bank account. Right.
They'll find out where you work at, put it on social media, go find out over there, you work at such and such. Like, how do you devote your life to being an officer, in a sense, or an attorney for a celebrity?
Right. Seriously, I don't get it because these celebrities didn't, I mean, I'm sure that they love it, but at the same time, that has to be scary for them because if somebody does something in their name, something crazy, violate somebody, offend somebody, physically hurt somebody in their name, like, oh, why did you beat the hell out of this woman? Because she said that she didn't like, plastic off the sofa. She ain't like track 4 off of Renaissance, and I had to check that. You'd be like, wow.
Right.
That's that. I mean, just for the artist to have that level of, I don't even know if it's love because even we say it again, Iman.
That's more of a burden. Like to have that. If something was to happen and then it was in your name and you didn't promote it, you had nothing to do with it. That is one hell of a burden to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Karina, good to hear from you, sis. You said all this drama thanks to social media. The tabloids back in the day were bad enough, but more of an effort was required to get that gossip. Now it's at the click of a button. And I think leads to that point, to Karina's point, thank you, Karina, for bringing that up. I think to Karina's point, that's probably why we're at this space when it comes to celebrity adulation and celebrity fandom. Like, it's just so easy to just jump right into it, right? And like, I'm a Jay-Z fan, but everything that Jay-Z has done, I'm not in agreement with. I don't think every song he's made is the greatest song.
I don't like his hair right now.
You say you don't like his hair?
I don't like his hair right now, but it's okay. It's like, I don't have to like his hair. People can have opinions.
Just, you know what I'm saying? You really pushing the buttons today, Iman.
Them bees gonna be in them comments. It's gonna be in.
Iman, you ain't gonna be able to, all I'm gonna say, you're not gonna be able to log in next Tuesday.
They gonna ban me from y'all.
They ain't gonna be able to log in. No, but that's real. Belinda, you checked in and said, look, I remember music making you feel black and proud, made family memories, babies, not make music make you want to kill, fight, shake your arse, rob each other. I think that was always a part of our musical culture. We can't act like, look, I used to think like this too, but I had to take a step back and be honest. All of our music has always been ratchet. We just never used that term. Y'all remember back in the 90s?
It wasn't as hot though, Ferrari.
Oh, no, it was ratchet. I can name you all. back in the day, the music and the culture was ratchet. Look, one of our most loved artists walked around with his butt out of his pants, Prince.
That was art. That was art.
If when Lizzo does, take a drink, Iman. When Lizzo does it, we don't think that's art. We don't. I remember, look, y'all remember, I mean, if you think about some of the songs from the 90s, they were very explicit. I remember Adina Howard. Y'all remember Adina Howard?
I remember Adina Howard.
Now,
Yeah.
I remember Adina. Adina was, she cut no cards.
She was a freak in the morning and a
freak in the morning, freak in the afternoon, freak in the evening. The whole thing, like everything, like there was always this highly sexual side to our music. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't all just black and proud stuff. It was sex. It was knocking boots. It was, you know, some of the most, we talk about hip hop, Eazy-E and you know,
the big timers. When
Two Live Crew.
I agree, but if you take it back even further, let's take it to like Sam Cooke. Like music wasn't always like this. Like it became this because that's what our
No, I get it. I'm just talking about within the past, let's say can we say past 30 or 40 years?
I agree with you.
I'll probably say 40 years. All right, maybe 35 years. Music has gotten more ratchet, but I don't want us to put a glossy image over a situation where there's always and guess what? You got to ask yourself, well, how did it get to that point? Because the people's preference starting to get more ratchet.
Can I raise my hand?
Go ahead.
I sincerely feel as though it is to keep us on a different frequency and vibration. The megahertz that we were listening to music to, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and those soulful sounds, it was literally a different frequency that we were on when we listened to that music. So they dumbed the frequency, they dumbed the megahertz down to dumb our frequency down. So now we're operating at our lower vibration. But that's beyond me. That's what I really think.
Here's the thing. Check this out. And I believe the same thing too, Iman. But check this out. The difference now versus back then, we didn't see it happening. It was a gradual pull to lower our frequency. Now it's intentional in a sense that back in the day, we were like, oh man, damn, did y'all notice something different? Now it's like, I don't even care. I'm ratchet right now. I'm trying to get lit. You know, there's an intentional choice to be ignorant.
I agree.
See,
that's the big difference.
Philosophical. She being philosophical and all of that. I honestly think it's just the amount of what we accepted. They gave it to us. It made money, and they said, "Okay, we won't make these albums anymore. This is what people want, and we pick the culture. We are the culture, and this is what we wanted." That's where we're.
So that's what I'm saying. The people's preferences. Here's the thing, and this is the conversation that I could see possibly being connected to what we're talking about with fandom, because it's like the chicken or the egg debate, right? Is it the preferences of the people, or is it the fact that our preferences has been conditioned where we were made to fall in love with a certain culture? You see what I'm saying? Is that really our culture, or is that some fabricated culture that we were made to fall in love with?
I don't know, because I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. I think you're right. I think that there was some conditioning on our part, but at the end of the day, if we are sitting here having this conversation now, we've always been able to have this conversation of saying, I don't know if I want to hear that all the time, but yet we still accepted that was what we found as cool. Maybe like you're right, Faraji, it's because we saw it the most. Like the other stuff, they kind of just put it on the back burner. And then we just accepted it as that's what you listen to. That's what music is. Maybe that is true.
Maybe that is true. And, you know, I think that because of where we are in the community, where the culture of the country is, like we, and again, this is a bigger conversation, but there is a greater level of quote unquote freedom that you could be who you want to be, do what you want to do. So people are rebelling against boundaries and confinement. People are fighting against, you know what I mean, not being able to express all different sides of themselves, right? Like, yeah, you can be conscious, but you can be ratchet too. You know what I mean? And I hear a lot of women say, no. I'm a classy woman, but there's another side of me that want to twerk every 10 minutes. So it's like bougie
ratchet. Shout out to Karen L. She says she's bougie ratchet. That is what
bougie ratchet, right? And so people like that, right? So it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing, but I think that's the part of when you're creating like this fandom among people where people are just like, they're going so far to protect. Because I think here's my final point. We put a lot of emphasis on these celebrities because they make us feel a certain way about ourselves.
Agreed.
Right? About where we are in our lives. If you are not happy with yourself in some case, and I'm not saying that because we all love people. We can be a fan, but y'all know what I mean, the extreme stuff. Mm-hmm. That speaks a lot about who you are.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like that speaks a lot about how you see yourself.
Lizzo helped make a lot of big girls confident about their body shape and how they are and how they look. So I can understand psychologically why someone a part of Lizzo's camp would go so hard. So you make a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Even though I don't honestly, I don't think that Lizzo and like people say. I was watching Bill Maher the other day, and I know Bill, but so
I understand.
And very quickly, he was making a point like there's a thin line between body acceptance, right, and then just being overweight.
Mm-hmm. One day we can have that conversation about body positivity.
Lise, we gotta have that conversation because yes, you can love your body, but then you know your body can be in an unhealthy space too. So let's not empower people to love their unhealthiness. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's a different conversation. But I think this fandom situation is crazy and it is toxic. But we got to make sure we try to figure out like how do we balance that, because a lot of people are just not right nowadays because of celebrity culture. I remember back in the day, Paris Hilton was the big, the big seller, celebrity person. Now it's Kim Kardashian. Now it's this person and that person. And the unfortunate consequences is women are killing themselves. Men are killing themselves to be other than themselves.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Can you believe the nerve of these Republicans? They only want to block progress for our community. They talk about cutting Medicare and Social Security. They played politics with veterans' health care. They voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and funding for our HBCUs, and against lowering prescription drug costs for our seniors. These Republicans keep trying hard to stand in the way, but President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats won't let them. They are delivering for us. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Capitol Music. Check this out, folks.
Throw the whole thing away.
This is why we gotta have the culture. This is why we gotta have the culture, because we gotta check when stuff just goes left in the culture. All right, if you did not know, Capitol Music Group, they had just a couple of days ago. We didn't get a chance to talk about it here on the show, but it was in my notes to have us talk about, but we just never got to it. But Capitol Music Group had initially went as far as to sign a virtual rapper by the name of F.N. Meekin. And check us out. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. I can't even say dude. Look at this thing.
It's like a baby, a Lil Pump, and Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Like
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. He looks like Tekashi 6ix9ine. I don't know who the hell this guy is. This thing is. Well, apparently this guy, or this thing, F.N. Meekin, he was partially powered by artificial intelligence. Take a look. Check this out, Rashad.
Red flag. Red flag. We need flags for this segment. Just as you go through this story, we need flags. Just start throwing them. There's so many flags. Take it back, Coach.
Okay, so he's a virtual robot rapper that has amassed over 10 million followers on TikTok, according to the New York Times. This is a non-living thing.
Flag.
That was
a virtual thing went virtually viral.
Yeah.
A virtual thing went virtually viral.
A virtual thing that went viral has attracted, literally a virtual thing that has attracted real people to follow it, that was signed by a real music company. So when people found out, and you know, he had this thing, they created it where, again, using artificial intelligence, he spit bars, you know, of course he's voiced over by someone else. You know, he shows videos on TikTok. So like the whole thing, they went through the whole thing. So far, I mean, it got so crazy that a living rapper actually did a video with this guy, like did a song with. It wasn't Da Baby. I think it was Lil Baby. But anyway,
it was Gunner, and where's Gunner at?
It was Gunner.
The same rapper that didn't clarify what Pushin P was is now sitting in the penitentiary. That's what happens when you got language and you don't understand the sense of power through the airstreams of music. That's so you got virtual rappers.
I'm letting Rashad just handle that situation. I'm gonna just let Rashad handle that situation.
leave with this.
Gunna did a song with this thing. Gunna did a song with this thing. It came out. It like got all this attention. Well, now this was like a few days ago. Now, Capitol Music Group said on Tuesday that it is severing ties with the Yeah.
Throw it away. Just throw the whole thing.
How do you sever ties with something that's not even existent? That's like you go up to a car.
Do you unplug it?
It's like if you go to your car and be like, "This is where we have to go separate ways." What the? It's severing ties with FN Meccan. The news comes less than 2 weeks after the record company announced it was signed Meccan. And according to Capitol Records, this is the quote they put out. Here's what they said. And King Keenan, let's put this quote out. They said that Capitol accompanied the announcement of dropping FN Meccan with a statement that addressed the backlash. They said that we offer our deepest apologies to the Black community for our insensitivity in signing this project without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process behind it. We thank those who have reached out to us with constructive feedback in the past couple of days. Your input was invaluable as we came to the decision to end our association with the project. Essentially, people were pushing back on the fact that they thought that this project added more stereotypes to hip hop artists. Here's what they also said. The company behind Meccan, Factory New, stood by the team effort on the creation, though one founder, Anthony Martini, conceded the early content. He said, if you take it out of context, it obviously looks worse or different than it was intended.
Well, out of context, we heard what we heard. We see what we see,
but we taking it out of context. Like basically, he was like, ain't nobody offended by this. Hey, Keenan, put the picture back up on it. Just this thing looks crazy as hell, but it takes elements of the culture, what we like to see in rappers.
You know, so it calls back to play with this likeness and this image type of thing, right? And protecting our human property, right, as intellectual property in a space where we can be cloned or assimilated into a whole nother device and not having no control of it, because it's grounded in it's an algorithm, right? It's artificial intelligence. Whatever is the coder and whatever data that they're putting in that's correlating and creating a digital profile of this person is going to be a reflection of the society that we are in. So when you have a music, when you have a culture that's grounded in indecency, murder, racism, and bigotry, and then you have to create this avatar that emasculates or showcases those type of data points, it calls back to one, the call of data and controlling of our story and our narrative. What we allow as a culture to be the music that is going to define us and tell us as our stories of the moments that we're in. And how do we have a level of accountability that we're not exploited, right? So I call in the question, like, let's just end with rapping all together. Let's go back to hip hop and see if a virtual component can replicate all the different pillars of hip hop, because it's not just rapping itself.
I'm all cool for technology and stuff. Look, Nira told me, my wife told me the other day, she was like, yo, Faraji, Meg Thee Stallion got a virtual show coming to Baltimore. I was like, a virtual show? Like, yeah, they're going to like use technology. She's not going to be there, but you can come and see her. I mean, we all heard about the hologram of Tupac and all of that stuff. And it's just like, you know, this virtual show.
Games. It's giving me Hunger Games, bro.
It's like some Matrix stuff. Like, I don't even know like how to take this, because again, I'm all for, you know, advancing the culture. I love, of course, you know, this whole show platform is rooted in hip hop philosophy, in a sense of, you know, this is the culture, right? But it seems like it gets to be going to this weird space You got artificial intelligence rappers. Like as if we don't have enough black boys and black girls that want to be rappers in this country. Like you need to create a new rapper to meet a certain. I just don't get it. I don't get it, bro. This stuff, it's as people say nowadays. Y'all just different. This weird.
Nothing is safe these days. Can we safeguard something?
Like I just never, you would never heard this. Like 10 years ago, we wouldn't be on talking about, yeah. I mean, now you talking about fake rappers with 10 million followers. Like who are you streaming? Who are you downloading? Like, and you're like, oh yeah, yo. And I bet you somebody be like, boy, he got better bars than Lil Wayne. You'd be like,
I'm sure he should have been imported with every encyclopedia and thesaurus, but even if you're imported with all of those different languages and words, you still use the N-word?
And then you're going to have them using the N-word, and then
like what did they program an ethnicity, a race to this
that's what I'm saying. Like, Rashad, our culture becomes this commodity. Our culture becomes this, you know what I'm saying? A way that we express ourselves has now officially become like just this other thing where we can't, where we just a damn stereotype. Being black, being able to speak our struggle through poetic language, all of it has just become a stereotype. We just like, oh, okay, you're a product. Your pain is a product. Your struggle is a product. Your identity is a product, right? And guess what? We're not only going to take all of that, we're going to make it newer. We're going to make it better. We're going to make it shinier. And we're going to be more popular using all of that we gained from your living self and put it into a virtual self. This stuff is weird, bro.
We're going to take your likeness for our likeness. That's
create it and then exploit it. Come on, I can't emphasize, Keenan, one more time as we close out the show. Show this picture. What black person looks like this, bro? Look at this. This dude looks like something from Terminator or Aliens. What is this? I can't, man. I can't. That's insulting. I'm glad Capitol Music decided not to, as they say, sever their ties with them. But y'all should decide this thing in the first place. Y'all thought this was going to be the future.
So did it sign its own contract? I have so many questions. We're going to have to pick this one back up. Do you just unplug it? Or do you got to erase it? You got Central or delete? Like, what's going?
Bro, I don't know. Total Recall rappers, man.
How would he perform? It would have to be I don't know, like
Rashad, you asking too many logical questions that I can't answer, brother. I just,
you know how you want to be.
I'm laughing, but it's sad, man.
If you
That's
reach
the way
on the stage, it's
right.
going to be a hologram. Like, cause if you do it disappear when you try to touch his feet when it's going across the stage to rap. I got so many questions, but I'm glad that they deleted it, and I want to delete it from my memory, and I hope that they don't do a 2.0 prototype, because that's going to be even more scary. And like you said, we already culturally, we think there's a few ways out of the hood. If they create that, you can't rap your way out the hood no more at this point.
Hell no. Hell no. Man, oh man. All right, my big brother, Rashad, thank you so much, sir. It's always good to talk to you. Welcome back. I'm glad to hear that we get to hear from you and see you. So I appreciate your time with us today. Thank you, Rashad, for being so good for the culture this afternoon.
Always, bro. Always love for the culture, as always. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.